Hey folks, Phil here. We're going to work on some martial powers today. We're going to convert the 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons Fighter Battle Master into the mana system that we have developed. So give me a second here to check my signal, go through my intro spiel, and then we'll have 100 minutes of fun. So checking my signal here real quick to the blah-de-blah. So checking my signal. Wow, loud and clear, Mon Kearney. It's because your volume's at 25 instead of 20. Let's key that back just a touch to make sure we remain tolerable for friends and family. And I am going to kick through my intro spiel here real quick, and then we'll get to work. So, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing game supplements, illustrate them, and then publish them online. I have a slew of work that I've already produced. I've been playing in the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition game space for a number of years now, publishing my content on the DMsGuild. Down below, there is a slew of links to various works that I've done already. Hey, Renico. And like, for example, what you see on screen here is the Spell Point Variant Rules bundle that I have produced. Like 90% of that is free preview. It's probably about 150 illustrations. So if you're here for the artwork that I do, you can check that stuff out. If you're here for D&D as a player or a DM looking for options, check this stuff out. I use it in my 19th level campaign. I have for an entire 20 level campaign after we did all the playtesting for it. So we got about 3 years worth of using the mana systems that we're going to be introducing that are in these books and that we're going to be seeing used today as well. So it's a lot of fun. Check this stuff out. If there's anything that you like, consider making a purchase to support the channel. Otherwise, best way to help support the stream, I just went live on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter if you happen to still be there at Phil Kearney. Otherwise, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to let YouTube know that long form design stuff like this is of interest. And by long form, I mean long form. This is my 76th episode of this project. But if you really want to see something that's taken a while, I've got the 100-page Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book. We're up to around episode 210. In that stream, and that happens Monday through Friday morning. I do martial powers like this on Tuesday, and then on Monday and Thursday night, I work on cartography and creature tokens for Eberron Adventure, that's also publishing on the DMsGuild. And finally, we have on Saturday, I do commission artwork as well as personal projects. So I'm here a lot. Check it out. If you have any fun with us, stick around, help boost the signal. And also in the link down below, there's a link to my Patreon. You don't have to be a patron yourself to see this Google Doc. It's a read-only document. You can read along with me. Just click on the link down below and then click where it says Martial Powers. It'll take you right to this document. You can read along with me. And we have been we've been evolving. So it's evolution that we're taking here is moving away from, so we have the half-casters, which are paladins, rangers, and as well as artificers that use the universal spell point mechanics that we have of 40 mana per long rest. And for the martial, for the fighters, for barbarians, fighters, monks, rogues, as well as warlocks, we have the martial point, which is a short rest mechanic that you can see in the spell point warlock PDF, as well as in the universal spell points PDFs. They're also in the core mechanics for tap and tap burn as well. But the point here is that these are we were exploring long rest mechanics for our martial characters and then giving them various ways to cheat more mana onto their character per day, like gaining extra points of action surge, blowing hit dice to get more hit points back, different clever stuff like that. So instead, it looks like we're going to be, and I was moving away from that because I thought that maybe Monk and Warlock would be moving out of long rest in 1D&D. Away from short rest mechanics, but it's pretty evident that Warlock and Monk are both going to stay in the short rest space. So what we've done is we've taken the fighter, the barbarian, the rogue, and the monk and Warlock, keeping them all on the same short rest system, and still providing them some means to cheat extra mana onto their characters. So over the course of 20 levels, you get 20 mana that you'll get back as a short rest in comparison to the hybrid points like of a paladin, ranger, and artificer. They get 40 points per long rest that they're spending mainly on spells, but it can also use the various powers in here if they wish. The martial characters are specifically only gaining the martial power system options that are inside of this book. And then the exception to that is the Warlock that would have to spend an invocation to learn a specific power, and then could use its pact mana, which is also gained on a short rest, level 1 to 20. Instead of whatever you would normally do with an invocation. I was really happy to see in UA7 playtest that just came out that they have decided to allow Warlocks to spend an invocation to gain a feat. Anyone that's been sticking around here, we've been here's our power progression, right? So you got your mana spread, which we already showed. I'm going to drop this page down to the Battle Master because we're working on Battle Master today, and I've got about 100 minutes to play. So just trying to fire through things here real quick. We saw, so you gain a number of powers, kind of like you'd gain spells. Powers are spells. Channeling is casting. It's just different language. Instead of spell levels, they're ranks. Level 1 to 5, rank 1 to 5 at the half casting progression. So first rank at 1, second rank at 5, third rank at 9, 4 at 13, 5 at 17. The same gain that you would have from a paladin, artificer, or ranger gaining spell levels. This paces with that. And then you have the martial characters, of course. We'll look at the fighter today as well. So kicking up here to the fighter real quick. Oh yeah, I was talking about something specific. Okay, so you gain a number of powers up to 16, and then you also gain a batch of bonus powers that you gain at 3, 5, like third level when you gain your archetype, right? So you get 2 at third, 2 at fifth, 2 at ninth, 2 at 13th, 2 at 17th. So you get a stack of 10 extra bonus powers on top of the 16 powers that you gain over the course of 20 levels. In UA7, we saw that they were allowing you to spend invocations to gain feats. And if you've been tagging along with us for the past year, we had implemented that you, instead of gaining powers, you could instead just gain feats. So I love that Wizards has taken my advice again and decided to allow feats as an option, because feats you don't have to spend mana on. There's the big debate about, are Battle Masters too complicated to make a core feature? Are maneuvers too complicated to make a core feature in the fighter? And of course, recently on the videos, they're saying, no, it's too complicated, but then of course completely contradict themselves by saying everyone has maneuvers because we're going to make weapon mastery as a thing. So if you thought your fighter having maneuvers was too complicated, then I guess you don't want to use the weapon mastery system. But considering that the weapon mastery system has like a 90% approval rate, I don't think Wizards got the right message. They could have really simplified that whole process by just baking the Battle Master into the fighter and then allowing other martial classes to have like their optional fighting style to gain one of those maneuvers. But I guess Wizards thinks they knows what they're doing. So cheers to you guys. Good luck. So today what we're going to do, it's great that you can learn feats instead of powers, because then you don't have to worry about your dice. You don't have to worry about spending mana. Feats are always on. You can either use a feat or you can't. It doesn't cost anything to do it. So just to cap that snarky conversation right there, if Wizards really wanted to make fighters simple while adding on the weapon system type stuff and appeasing the Battlemaster audience, then you could just simply allow fighters or people to gain feats instead of maneuvers. That way you don't have to worry. If you don't have anything to spend dice on, you don't need dice. That keeps the system really simple. But it also allows your marshals to spend all of their ASI on stat gains because they're stat starved. They need strength, they need constitution, they need dexterity in that order. Well, dexterity and strength can be, depending on whether you're a ranged or a melee fighter. But then constitution is definitely a second. And of those first, then the first becomes the third. And then you might even have like a casting stat on top of that, like intelligence for a fighter, for an Eldritch Knight. It's insane. So by consolidating your channeling stat to also be one of your martial stats of either strength, dexterity, or constitution, and then with an option of like intelligence or charisma or wisdom, depending on what kind of a character you're playing, but allowing you that array of choices so that you can line up your stats to work together and then spend all your feats. Instead of gaining powers, you can use all of the bonus powers that your character is already going to get to lean into the archetype that you're portraying. Use your 16 powers to pick up as many free feats as you want, and then leave your actual ASI bonuses on your characters on your character scaffold to gain stats. And so you can also have, you know, a 20, 22, 24 level stat where it's important for you, which becomes your combat stat and your channeling stat. So it all lines up together eloquently for you. And so if you don't want to mess around with the mana system, the mana system's stupid simple, and you'll see it throughout the books that I have here, but it breaks down to it costs 1 mana per spell level. So if you're a 20th level Warlock and you have 4 spells that are 5th level each, that's 4 times 5 equals 20. It's dummy simple. They overcomplicated it by making it weird, like that a maneuver would be like a monk's what's the word that I am attempting to use, the Way of the 4 Elements, making mana a 1st level spell costs 2 key. If you look at the spell point system that's in the Dungeon Master's Guide, it's 2 spell points for a 1st level spell and 13 points for a 9th level spell. Not only is that difficult to keep track of, but it also implies that a 9th level spell is only 6.5 times more powerful than a 1st level spell, which is stupid. So, I mean, cheers. I mean, Wizards, you can do what you want. Obviously, you guys know best. You bought the thing, so that gives you the authority to say that you know best. But there are better, easier ways to make things for people to enjoy the system. So, snarkiness aside, snarkiness will never be aside. But attempting to set snarkiness aside, that's how the system works. So, if you break down the spell levels that a paladin and a ranger get, they actually end up with 43 levels worth of spells. So we round it down to take away a little bit of the curve of spell casting. So that's why they get 40 per long rest, because it would be 43 if you just totaled the spell levels that they gain. We just simplify it so it's easy math. Just gain 2 per level. But we're focusing on the fighter today, and the fighters gain all their mana back on a short rest, just like a warlock does. We know that blade locks are fucking awesome, that they work well. We also know that monks don't, because they have too much stuff that relies on it. The thing about the warlock is they have a lot of stuff they can do that doesn't rely on their pact magic. They're just pain batteries. They're really great at it. So when we build these things in, we want to be able to create a means for martial characters to have that same sort of repetition of damage that we can see on a blade lock, right? And so a fighter gets that primarily from multiple attacks as they gain levels. Hey, someone's keying in. What up? Hornetico, currently laughing my ass off over Unity Engine making itself in less than a day. Currently laughing my ass off over Unity Engine nuking itself in less than a day. I guess I'll have to check that out. So great. We're looking at powers. We got about 80 minutes to play through here. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down the Battle Master as presented and see what we would do to translate it out of that. So as a refresher, when you spend mana, you gain many powers gain a power die that you would then be able to roll to be able to perform an action, like such as if we go up here to exploits, you can spend a point of mana if you have the inquisitive exploit. When making an ability check that can use the insight, investigation, or perception skill, roll 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest roll to your result. So we see here on the table, like at first level, you have a D6. So it works, and this, right now, it works like inspiration from a bard. If the ability check would allow you, as it says, if the insight, investigation, or perception skill would qualify for use on this ability check, then you can spend a point of mana and roll a d6, add the result. If you spend it at higher levels, like once you get to 5th level and you can channel 2 mana, then you could roll 2 6-sided dice, but you would pick the best one. So there's diminishing returns, but it allows you to spend a lot of mana on this. This allows all the martials, if you lean just a little bit into the different skills that are in the exploits and some of the maneuvers, it allows the martial characters to lean into the exploration and social pillars of adventure instead of just combat, by having means of being able to juice up the results of skill checks that they're making. Climbing checks, athletics, stealth, social stuff like intimidation, investigation, perception. There's of course, with the skill list that we have, you could just literally just pick up skilled, and you could completely skill monkey yourself by spending all of your powers on just simply learning the skilled feat if you want to. Dumping in a crap load of skills onto your plate so that you're gaining the proficiency bonuses, and then you can take exploits that further boost them. So when you're rolling the die, you see the results, like, I'm going to burn an extra few mana to make sure I can juice up that result. At our 19th level table, our team loves it. They're constantly dumping mana into juicing up the die rolls that they get, because if they want to make sure they can understand some magic text that's in a book, they're going to ramp up their arcana check. So great, go for it. Our rogue is constantly swapping out his sneak attack for extra mana so that he can gain bonuses on investigation, disarming traps, even though he's a 19th level rogue. Because I know what numbers he can hit, as a DM, I juice up, like when they run into magic stuff, I juice up the DC of being able to disarm or recognize what these things are. So they just curve into it by spending mana. It's kind of an arms race between the DM and the players, but my table from level 12 to 19 have absolutely loved using it. I mean, we got a druid, we got a rogue, we've got a ranger. We had a paladin, but we lost him, and we're so close to the end of the campaign we didn't pick up somebody new. But I'll be doing a play test for level 3 to 7 using this system in a sort of dungeon crawl, hex crawl sort of thing. Once the Spelljammer book is done, I'll open up space and start doing a playtest campaign with whomever it is that's interested in playing along. So it's like OGL Crisis multiplied by 10. Oh my god. Wow. Okay. Well, nice to know. Good luck, Unity. So we got the D6, D8, and then it eventually evolves into a D10. And if you look at the superiority dice of a battle master, we can compare that their maneuvers, they start with a D8, it then becomes a D10, and eventually evolves into a D12 at the highest levels. So it uses the same ideas like inspiration, a flash of genius from the artificer, and as well here, the superiority dice. So you're spending mana to gain access to a power, either just an instantaneous use or something that you're sustaining as a locked effect that you can just persist as an aura, or you're gaining feats. And then if it costs mana when you spend the mana, you roll the dice that are associated with it, just like you do with maneuvers. So like if we had, like, say, precision attack. Let's go hunt down precision attack real quick. Exploits. And precise attack. You make an attack roll. Let's see what it looks like down here. Precision attack. When you make a weapon attack roll against a creature, you can expend one superiority die to add it to the roll. You can use this maneuver before or after making the attack roll, but before any effect. So if you spend a superiority die with the battle master, you spend your die, you roll that die, you add the result of that die to your attack roll. There you go. At most, you have 9 dice per, was it per short rest or is it per long rest? Let's go look at the system here real quick. So maneuvers, you know 3 maneuvers to start, and then you gain 2, 5, so you have 3, 5, 7. You end up with 9 maneuvers at 15th level using the maneuver progression. Superiority dice, you start with a D8 and it ends up being a D12. at 18th level. Let's see, superior dice, you gain inspiration when you finish a short or long rest. There you go. So you gain back all of your dice when you finish a short or long rest. You start with 4. You gain another one at 7th, which is 5. And then one more 6 at 15th level. But they all cost 1 die, and that's their cap. Compare that to the 20 mana that we eventually give you on a short rest compared to the 6 that they give you. But maneuvers can cost up to 4 or 5 mana to channel. So you could, at the high end, do 4 or 5 powers, but you could also do a shitload of the only 1 mana. You could do 20 for the 1 mana, or you can do like 4 of 5 mana compared to the superiority dice, which is at best you'll ever have 6 through 20th level. So, and that's for short rest. So this is already a lot more restrictive, keeping in mind that weapon masteries may make a number of these redundant or less useful. So depending on what one D&D ends up doing, we'll rebuild this book and re-release it with all the revisions to all the classes as needed, as we will with all the books that are in the Color Mana spell point system. It's a great opportunity for us to revisit it and update it and glam it up a little bit more. So, hey, Alan, what's up, my guy? Ooh, we finally get to see the Battlemaster. Yes! Okay, great. So, we're working here. So, let's see. We're looking at Battlemaster. We have the superiority dice. We have the saving throw, which can be either strength or dexterity. And us, let's go back up and look at the fighter real quick. So, that's your core chassis. Like, if I were to use superiority dice instead of a mana system, this would be... There you go. That's what it would be. But since we're using mana, we're going to take this little chunk of change here, and we're going to look at the fighter itself. So we get mana. We know that we get 1 to 20 mana. It's short rest, so we regain it basically at the same pace as you get superiority dice, but you get more mana because high-level stuff is more expensive. So then on top of that, martial powers. You begin at first level knowing 2 powers, and then you continue to gain more powers up to 16. The superiority here, you gain at most 9. So we're, again, dumping in. There's 140 options plus all the feats and damage types. So between everything, there's about 175 options for you to choose from, which could require 0 mana to use at all, and you can just ignore all of that to keep your character simple, or it can get really complicated and have a bunch of levers and dials that you can pull to get the optimization that you want in your character's action loop each round, including stuff off of your actions, reactions. So, we have the superiority dice. We have dice that stack here as well. Then going back down to getting past the... Well, we're going to keep this one here for reference. We're going to use our second tab as powers, and then here's our third tab, the fighter. Great. So we have mana, 1 per short rest, up to 20. Martial powers, you start with 2. You gain up to 16 in the end. You also gain a batch of 10 bonus powers, so you'll end up with 22 powers across the course of your character's career. Variant class feature, channeled vitality. We don't have the saving throw listed down here. I don't know why that's missing. Saving throws equals 8 plus PD plus STR DEX or INT. Your choice: dexterity, strength, or strength, dexterity, or intelligence. You get to choose which stat you want to use when someone's forced to make a saving throw against your powers. I don't know why that's not listed there. Variant class features. So here's some fun stuff. Channel Vitality. It's modifies second wind at first level. When you use second wind, you can also regain a number of spent mana equal to the max rank of power gained as a fighter. So when we do multi-classing, you could gain like 5 levels of fighter and 5 levels of rogue. And the maximum amount of mana you'd be able to channel, which is pretty normal for multi-classing, is the combined total. But you only gain you can only know up to second rank powers as a fighter. You would also, as a 5th level rogue, only be able to learn up to second rank powers there as well. So when we're looking at class features that are modified by the channel, by the martial power channeling system, it's always dependent on your class level. So using this feature, whenever you use Second Wind, you'll get up to 5 mana. If you're a 20th level, if you're a 17th level fighter, you'll get up to 5 mana back whenever you use Second Wind. And since Second Wind, let's go look at class features. You can go look at Second Wind. I know this is probably going to change for 1D&D, so we'll just calibrate it if we do. But for now, 5e is 5e. So you have a limited number of stamina. Once you use this feature, you must finish a short or long rest before you can use it again. So every time, so this is a way for you to get hit points back, but using this system, it's also a way for you to get mana back between rests. Kind of like what we're seeing like with sorcery points in the Unearthed Arcana Preview 7 playtest. They're proposing that you get mana, you get spell points back whenever you start initiative. We're probably going to see Monk getting mana key or mana back every time you start combat. If that's a direction they go in, fantastic. That's going to make our life a lot easier. But using that guideline as a sensible way to keep our short rest characters fed, we're using mechanics that already exist inside of their kit. So, and we have unique different ways that each class can use their class features to gain additional mana. So you're going to get your Second Wind back on a short rest, which also gives you all your mana back. So like at first level, you spend your 1 point of mana and it's gone until you take a short rest. Unless you use your Second Wind. In that case, you get another point of mana back right away. So you have basically 2 points of mana per short rest that the fighter can use. And then once you get to 5th level, that becomes 5 mana, plus you get the 2 from your Second Wind. So you're effectively getting 7 mana every time you take a rest. And then we also have, down here we'll look at Power Surge. At 10th level, when you use Action Surge, you also gain a number of temporary mana equal to your max channel limit gained as a fighter to use until the end of your turn. Any temporary mana gained this way is lost. So at 10th level, you are 3rd rank. When you use Action Surge, we just give you 3 mana to spend during your turn. When your turn is over, you lose that temporary bonus mana, but you can use it for whatever you want while it's there. So, and then on top of that, we have Empowered Strikes, which is starting at 5th level. You have a second attack. If you hit something and you have attacks that are left over, you still have more attacks this round. If all you want to do is just make sure you make this guy regret, you can cash in all of your extra attacks and gain bonus mana to channel more damage into strikes. So at 5th level, if I hit you with the first attack, I can forego my second attack and instead gain a free point of mana that I can spend to boost up, to do extra damage and cause an effect with a strike power. So we'll have an opportunity here to go through the strikes, but that is essentially the changes that, then there's Indomitable Power. If you use power dice to boost your saving throw and you fail your saving throw, if you use Indomitable Power, you not only get to reroll the d20, but you also get to reroll the power dice. So that's just another boost. But those are all the changes that we have to make to the basic chassis of the fighter. So now we're going to actually get into the Battle Master. And as usual, we build the features first, and then we build out the bonus power kit second. So checking in on my notes here. Just love at the system. You are so well rewarded for keeping it. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm fixing my screen. So I DM campaigns from level 1 to 20 in about 250 to 300 hours. I'm currently on my 4th campaign, and it allows me an opportunity to see how power curves up throughout the levels. And I've ran campaigns where you're required to stay the same class the entire time, allow you to multi-class freely, and I've also done Gestalt where you ran 2 classes at the same time. And they all feel a little differently, but it's really, really fun to give people a reason to stick around in their core class. So, yeah, absolutely agree. So let's look at the core class features that we get out of the Battle Master. Features. So let's see. We know that Battle Master. What does a Battle Master get? Let's pull open a notepad here real fast to make some quick notes. Let's see. Combat superiority. Combat superiority. 3rd. You gain maneuvers, which are irrelevant because we already have the power system giving us maneuvers. Superiority dice, D8, D10, D12, the saving throw, maneuver saves. We already have all that stuff. So when it comes down to combat superiority, what are we really gaining here? Well, I think the best thing that we can do here is combat superiority. Third. When you take this archetype, your power die increases from a D6 to D8. At 9th level, your die increases to D10. At 17th, your die increases to D12. Why would you take the martial, the battle master? Because they have higher superiority. They have higher power dice than any other class in the game. Actually, that's not true. The monk also, you can use monks. You can use the monk's martial art die instead of the power die. So that will most likely become a D12, D8, D10, D12, D6, D8, D10, D12 when we upgrade to the next edition, 2024. So that'll be fun. But for now, the Battle Master has the most superior die out of all of them. Hence, combat superiority. But that's honestly the only change that we have to make regarding that off the cuff. But we also have, let's see, we have the Student of War. At 3rd level, you gain proficiency in one type of artisan. Yeah, sure, why not? Student of War. NoChanges.com. Text rolling in. What up? Monk and Battlemaster being the two with the biggest dice makes sense in my book. Yeah. Now the problem that we have is that strikes trigger off of your power dice. So, like for example, a paladin would cap with a D10 at 10th level. Like normally a paladin would have like up to 4th, 5, 6. Potentially, if you're attacking a demon, right? You could potentially have 6d8 power dice worth of damage. Or 68 worth of damage you could do because the paladin uses a d8 on a divine smite. Then they get the bonus forever die. It's your level +1 up to a 4th level spell, which is a baked in 5, and then you get the permanent bonus of 6. Oh wait, and then if it's a demon, it's up to potentially 78. So a paladin is going to cap somewhere around 50 to 60 damage on a smite. But using this system, you're using a d10. And instead of getting two normal characters, like a fighter would be able to burn 5 dice and do on a strike, like a blinding strike, you do 5d10 damage plus potentially blind your opponent, right? So that's 50 damage. That's almost as good as the paladin does, because the paladin would also have that 5d10. So the paladin is unique that they do get 2 dice. It's a little weaker in the beginning with d6s. Levels out mid-game where you'd start thinking about finishing your campaign, but if you go all the way to 20, you would end up having, instead of the 5d10 that a fighter would have, the paladin would automatically have baked in 6d10 with 5 mana spent. And if you go with the demon route, then you'd have an extra die, which would end up being 7d10, which is a potential of 70 mana, which is a little bit more. It's 14 more than what a paladin would normally get in the system. But you're starting off weaker. It's the same from level 9 to 17. And honestly, in my experience, an extra 14 points of damage by spending 5 spell points doesn't break the game. Like at all. You're fighting stuff with like 600 hit points at that point. So like an extra 14 hit points when you choose to spend 5 points of mana, it's a non-consequential issue. So it actually curves out well. But to that point, the monk and the fighter would have 5d12 instead of a 5d10. So they'd be able, instead of capping at 50, they'd cap at 60. So you have normal marshals, which cap at 50. You have the battle master and the monk that cap at 60. And then under ideal circumstances, the paladin is capping at 70. But normally it would be 60. So the paladin, the battle master, and the monk are the 3 top dealers, damage dealers, which makes sense in their kit. The battle master and the monk specifically having the D12s for like skill boosts and other stuff also makes sense because they lean so hard into that that adventurer kit. It'll be fun working on the champion when we get to the fighter champion, as well as building out all the monk stuff as well. I'm looking forward to that. So, but anyway, so Student of War, no complaint. You get proficiency with an artisan tool. Cool. Good for you. Let's see. Actually, Student of War, we're going to change that to gain the skilled proficiency, the skilled feat. There. So that way you get 3 skills instead of just 1 and being an artisan tool. If I want an artisan tool, let's go with that. Gain the skilled feat. 1. You must choose 1 artisan tool among the 3 skills or tools selected. There. That's, I think, better value. So let's go to what's our next step? Where do we go from here? Student of War. We already have so all this list of 20 some odd maneuvers. We're going to go down into the feat list or the power list and look at the conversions that we made for all of these and assign them accordingly when we get through the features. So we're going to skip the powers for now. Let's see. Student of War, 3rd. And then, there it is. Know your enemies. Know your enemies. No changes. However, so let's take a look. I already looked at this one. So starting at 7th level, if you spend at least 1 minute observing or interacting with another creature outside combat, you can learn certain information about its capabilities compared to your own. The DM tells you if the creature is of equal, superior, or inferior in regards to 2 of the following characteristics of your choice: strength, dex, con, AC, hit points, class levels, if any, fighter class levels, if any. Duly noted here, NPCs never have class levels or fighter levels. That's a stupid idea. You don't add class levels to NPCs. What are you going to do? Assess your friend? Just look at his character sheet. You don't need to know that. This is dead weight. It still exists, but I'm not happy with that. So let's see. I'm not going to change it for now. We might come back and address it later. However, you can use this feature when you make an attack against a creature by burning 1 point of mana as an exploit. You can learn one of the abilities, characteristics. You can learn one of the characteristics. List of characteristics. Let's just strength, dex, con, AC, HP, DC, save, DC, pick one. Max rank of power, because DMs can give creatures ranks of power to use. Instead of having a mana supply, they can, like in 4th edition, you had per encounter, per day, and per round actions. And the 4th edition had different creature types like artillery, brutes, controllers. We have all of that here in the DM section already. If you go to my Patreon for free and look at the free posting for the martial powers, you can look at this as a read-only document. Drop down to around page, I want to say like around page 60 of this playtest document, and you'll see the DM kits where it has suggestions on how you could build out like an artillerist, like what per use powers and then per encounter, like at will, once per round, and then once per encounter. There's those 3 tiers, and depending on what the CR of the creature is, will determine what level of powers, what rank of powers they have access to use against your characters. And we built some fun little flavorful kits. And then they have bosses, like solo bosses, and we had unique kits built out for examples of those. And assuming that people like this book, we can build out power kits for almost everything that's inside of the monster manual, Flea Mortals, or any KP, whatever your favorite monster manual is. We can build power kits for each and every creature that's in there based on what its CR is, equals the maximum rank that would have available to it as at will per round or per encounter. So you don't have to worry about maintaining mana pools for non-character creatures. So it's easy on the DM just to queue up. It's like, yeah, I can do a trip attack every attack that I make with this werewolf, for instance, or like this ogre once per round can do a hurl. So you can throw your character up 30 feet and have them fall as well. So like stuff like that, like just depending on what their scale is, anyway. So this is the rank. This is the list of stuff that I think that you should have. Immunities. That's right. Resistances, immunities. Why not change? Yeah. Yep. You're right. It just made too much. I mean, why not? So that, I think, is a decent list. Saves, max rank of power, resistances, immunities. Yeah, that's good. And if we come up with more interesting ones, always be welcome to shout them out, and we can add them to the list and consider using them for the finished publication. So, improved combat. So we have improved combat superiority. Tenth. This doesn't really matter because we already have the upgrade in the basic student of war. The basic combat superiority, starting at 3rd level, it juices to a D6. Yeah, okay, fine. We'll go with 10th, and then we'll go with, see, it goes like at 17th you're going to get a D10, and then what? It's going to upgrade to a D12 at 18th level. It seems like it should just be at 17th level, and it should be at 9th level instead of 10th level. And then 9th and 10th level basically become dead level. 9th and 10th and 18th level basically become dead levels, which I'm okay with. The overall power that you get is going to be superior pretty much in every way to what this. I mean, as long as you're willing to spend points of mana to do these things, you're going to end up with a lot more than what you were getting removed. See, combat superiority below. And then what's the improved? Improved. There. I think we can safely do that. But let's look at the... Ooh, Relentless. Let's see. Starting at 15th level, when you roll initiative and have no superiority dice remaining, you regain 1 superiority die. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? starting at 15th level, when you roll initiative, you regain mana equal to your max rank gained as a fighter. There. That is going to make you a just unstoppable wrecking crew. That's a shitload of mana. So at 15th level, you're going to have 15 base mana per short rest. You're going to have a second wind that's going to give you, at 15th level, it's going to give you an extra 4. So that's going to take you to 19 for that short rest. And then every time you start initiative at 15th level, it'll be an extra 4 mana as well. So that's 23 mana that you get per short, well, minimum of 23, assuming that you get into a fight. That is, I'm great with that. That just means you're going to be able to hit harder and faster. Okay, so take this in comparison. Here's my normal end-all be-all conversation piece. A blade singer wizard at 9th level can cast Steelwind Strike twice per day. And by the time you get to 19th level, you can do it 3, 6, 3, 5, 7, 8. You can do it. If you wanted to waste a 9th level spell slot on Steelwind Strike, you could. But if you did, you'd be able to do it 9 times per day. So Steelwind Strike deals, what, 6d10 force damage to 5 targets making an attack roll. If you hit, you deal up to 60 damage, and you have the ability to do that to 5 targets. That's a potential 300 points of damage that you can deal for the cost of a 5th level spell slot. It's going to be anywhere from roughly, on average, 150 hit points, 165 hit points, ramping up to 300 hit points. For a measly 5th level spell slot, you can do it 9 times per day as a fucking wizard. So me allowing you to have potentially, say, let's say you have, if you're pacing at 3 combats per short rest, which is about on par with what the DMG expects you to do, and you're going to therefore have 23, you're going to have 31 mana to spend over the course of that short rest. That 31 mana is going to convert, if you cap out with a fifth rank power dealing up to 60 damage, you can do that 6 times per short rest. That is equal, at best, to what one Steelwind Strike can do with a 5th level spell slot. Granted, you're not always going to have 5 enemies that you can deal 6d10 damage to. But in comparison, you have to spend 5 mana for this fighter to deal 60 damage per target, per single target. So it actually paces out pretty elegantly that it's keeping stride with the wizard in a completely martial combat sort of space. If you want to get into manipulating people in the social space or being able to overcome obstacles in the adventuring, in the exploration space, that's what we have exploits and maneuvers for, as well as sustained powers. So there are things that you have. You are going to have access to lots of different pillars to break up your damage across, or to break up your mana across. But as far as damage is concerned, this is in no way outpacing what the wizard is just assumed to be able to do if you just decide to take that one spell out of the 22 that you can memorize per day. So when people say that there is a disparage between marshals and casters, that's what they're talking about. The damage that casters can do are insane compared to what a fighter or any marshal can do. And the amount of flexibility per day that they have access to be able to switch out what they want to do is basically like getting 22 free feats that they get to change whenever they finish a long rest. So if you could imagine your fighter being able to switch, if your fighter had 500 feats to choose from, and you could swap out what those feats are every day, then you would be starting to look at the same level of power that the wizard has. So the fact that you get 2 extra attacks per round that can deal like maybe an extra 20 or 30 damage, but consistently do it all day, well, if you pace out with the DMG's guidance of having, say, at most 8 encounters, Not assuming that all of those are combat. That includes traps, tricks, and social encounters like debating somebody or interrogation. Just encounters per day, challenges per day. You should have 8. So if we assume that 6 of those are going to be combat, and we, again, take into account that combat should be lasting 3 or 4 rounds at most per combat, that's 32 rounds of combat. If your fighter is getting an extra 20 points of damage over the course of 20 rounds of combat, that's going to be 400 extra damage that they're going to be doing per day. And that translates into about 2 steel wind strikes. So again, it's the damage at the pace that they expect marshals to be operating at is in no way comparable to the amount of power and flex that casters actually have. So all this gripe about upping the amount of damage or the amount of power that martial characters have, it's a combination of just being able to do more damage, which we're providing with strikes, and have more flexibility and options and being able to affect more of the game other than killing things, which our exploits, maneuvers, and sustained powers allow for us to do, as well as, like the skilled feat and stuff like that. So very simple. It doesn't take a lot to break that down, but now we get to go into the power list, and I am sorely tempted to give every single one of these bake into the bonus power list. There's 20 powers here. Normally you'd only get 10. And then you also get the 16 just for being a fighter through level 20. That's a lot. So let's see if these all exist or not. What do you think is funny is that Steel and Strike was designed for the ranger, right? But they gave it to the wizard and the bard. And the bard gets it too, right? So, but they give it to the wizard and the bard so they can just do better with it. Yep, way better than the ranger ever could. They have how do you put it? They have a delayed gratification problem at Wizards. I don't think they actually play campaigns from level 1 to 20. I think they take a little snippet vignettes of like 3 or 4 level chunks as playtesting, but I honestly don't know if any of these dudes play anything past 10th level on their own tables or not. I think if they did regularly play campaigns from level 1 to 20 repeatedly, just run through them, then they would start to get a feel for what actual power is inside of the game and what kind of crazy crap that high-level casters can do compared to high-level fighters. Because high-level, like 20th level fighters are, like you said, basically 9th level wizards or clerics. Massive disparity there. So we can do insane shit with martial classes and it's still going to be okay. So we're not even going as crazy far as we could. We're trying to keep things within scale of where stuff exists in fight. Like everything that we have inside of this book, there's something else that is as good or better than what we offer here. Like this is at best as good as the battle master, or as good as the rogue. Bard, like an inspiration, but like the rogue and all the other fighter classes and all the barbarian classes are not as good at damaging or skill boosting as a bard is, or as a paladin is, or have just as much options as full casters in general do. So anyway, I could pontificate that forever. We're at 2 o'clock, so I've got about another 25 minutes I can play. So let's keep after it. What we're going to do is we're going to see if we can find, and we might end up having to spill into another day, Lament. But we're going to grab all of these because I'm pretty sure all of these exist at either the 1st or 2nd rank of power. So I'm going to grab all of these. We're going to drop them in here. And we're going to see if we can find them. If we can find them, we'll scratch them off the list here. And we'll add them here. Let's go! Ambush. When you make a dexterity, stealth check, or an initiative roll, you can expend 1 superiority die and add the die to the result, to the roll, provided you aren't incapacitated. Well, of course. Ambush. When making an ability check that can use stealth, skill, or when rolling initiative, roll 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest roll to your result. And again, this is a 1 mana, so if you want to stay bare bone minimum at 3rd level, you could use Ambush and roll a d8. But by the time we get to 5th to 17th level, we could spend 5 mana on this. And since we're using d12s instead of d10s because Battlemaster equals awesome. Yep, d12s. So we would be able to, if we wanted to spend 5 mana, we'd be able to roll 5 12-sided dice and keep the best results. There you go. That's so yeah, we're going to out ambush the. I mean, you could use the Battlemaster if you want to. Sure. Maybe people don't like mana. I'm not going to fight you over that. If you don't want to use mana, you don't have to. So let's go back up here. Ambush. EXP 1. Bait and switch. When you're within 5 feet of a creature on your turn, you can expend 1 superiority die and switch places with that creature, providing you spend at least 5 feet of movement and the creature is willing and isn't incapacitated. This movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. Roll the superiority die. Until the start of the next turn, you or the other creature, your choice, gains a bonus to AC equal to the number rolled. Let's see what we have. Ground fighting, overrun, natural hunter, charlatan, sage, subtle, swift, tactical, unnerved, veterinary. Gain advantage, attack. Let's see. First strike, opportunistic. Maybe it's a maneuver. Coordinated attack, ally 30 feet. Nope. Distract, curse, coordinated dash. Distract. Target creature you see within 30 feet makes a saving throw. Fail equals no reaction. Nope, that's not it. Goad, healing, mobility, rally, restraining hold, swift assessment, cursed brand, lethargy, phase, pack, regeneration, shunt, lift. Maybe it's a reaction. We might not have something comparable to that. Deflection as a reaction. Deflection as a reaction to. This is a reaction. It's not a. It's not a bonus action, I think is what they listed as. You can expend 1 superiority die and switch places with that creature, provided you spend movement. This is incapacitated. This doesn't provoke an opportunity attack. When you're within 5 feet of a creature. Oh, neat. That's a free action. Let's see. As a reaction to when you or an ally within reach of your melee attack are hit by an attack roll from a source you can see, the attack is re-rolled, taking the new result. The re-roll can't score a critical hit. Until the start of your next turn, you or the other creature gains a bonus to armor class. That's a reroll. Evasive footworks. As a reaction to when you are hit by an attack from a source you can see, you gain a +5 bonus to your armor class. Interpose. As a reaction to when an adjacent ally takes damage from a source you can see, you can take any portion of the damage and gain resistance to it. Not quite what we're looking for. Countering attack, anchor. Let's go to those reactions. Feels like an exploit. I don't think we have a direct translation for that one. So we'll leave it be. And if we decide that we want to add that one in, we can. It doesn't use any action economy. Ambush, charge, extended attack, field medic, gifted, ground, inquisition, overrun, natural hunter, apprentice, charlatan, range, resilient, sage, subtle, swift, tactical, unnerving focus, vet, cooperative effort, ride the wind, empowered, first strike, opportunistic. Yep, nope, that one doesn't. Okay, so we're going to leave bait and switch in the mix and see if there's something we can replace it. See if we want to add that one in. And if we did, it would probably be an exploit. Brace. When a creature you can see moves into reach you have with the melee weapon you're wielding, you can use your reaction to expend 1 superiority die and make an attack against this creature using that weapon. If it hits, Add the superior die to the damage roll. That's brace. If the attack hits, add the superiority die to the damage roll. So you can hit. Thank you, Timely Timer. When a creature you can see moves into the reach you have with the melee weapon you're wielding, you can use your reaction. Let's see. When you're making a saving throw, making a ranged attack. Extend attack, commanding presence, make an ability check, ambush, exploit. Okay, so let's go look at reactions. Countering attack, that's the counter spell ability. Punish as a reaction to an enemy you can see within range of your weapon, misses an attack roll. This is a moves into reach. Deflection, downtrodden, curse, controlled fall. Interesting. Yeah, we don't have anything that directly translates to that yet either, so that may be something that we could pick up. Commander's Strike. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can forgo one of your attacks and use a bonus action to direct one of your companions to strike. When you do so, choose the friendly creature you can see or hear you and expend a superior die. The creature can immediately use its reactions to make one weapon attack, adding the superior die to the roll. So that would be, I believe that is a maneuver. From the creature, you can see the creature can immediately use this reaction. There it is. Commander Strike is coordinated attack. So, good. Coordinated attack. Go up here. Maneuvers. Let's go to considering, and then we'll go to resolved. We'll keep stacking up the resolved ones here, and we'll see how we parse out. I am open to considering, again, it says considering, so I am very open to considering these added. What is going on? Why are you blanking? What? There you go. Let's see. Brace. Commanding presence. This is where we're at. We're not going to save yet. Current. Commanding presence. When you make a charisma, intimidation, you can expend a superior die and add the result to your ability check. Well, I'm pretty sure we have that one in here. That's going to be an exploit. Yep, commanding presence. Commanding presence is commanding presence. Commanding presence reads that when you make an ability check that uses intimidate, perform a persuasion skill, roll a power die per mana burned. Adding the highest result, the roll to the result. There you go. Same thing. So commanding presence is commanding presence. So let's get that out of the way. Let's see. Am I caught up? Yep. Hey, Nax. Good to see you, my guy. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think I'd use a Still One Strike on 9th level either. Well, you think 9th level as a martial versus a... I would say in flexibility and raw power, it's very similar. I think you could say that The amount of things that a wizard can do at 9th level is superior to the amount of stuff that a barbarian can do at 20th level. A barbarian can hit more stuff, maybe do a ritual or two. That's about all they got, right? But you can debate me. You can fight me over it if you want. I think the point is valid, even if my level is off. It's about at that 2nd, 3rd tier spot, though. 9th to 11th level, maybe. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can expend one superiority die to attempt to disarm the target, forcing it to drop one item of its choice. One item of your choice that is holding. You add your superiority die to the attack's damage roll, and the target must make a strength saving throw on a failed save. It drops the object you choose. The object lands at its feet. This is going to be our first strike, which is going to be Disarming Strike. Disarming Strike. Your weapon deals extra damage equal to 1 power die per mana burned. So at 17th level, you would, the Battle Master would be able to burn 5 mana, dealing an extra 5d12 damage. And the target must make a strength saving throw against your channeling DC, adding the result of the highest power die rolled, or the target drops one item of your choice that it's holding. The object lands at a location you choose within 10 feet of the target per mana burned, channeling this power. I am very happy with that one. I just like how it sits. Disarming Strike. STR1. I'm thinking about stuff. All right. Thoughts are happening. Disarming Strike. Here's something worth noting about Disarming Strike. Let's go look at that again real quick here, since I deleted it off of my page. So, Disarming Strike. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can expend one superiority die to attempt to disarm the target, forcing them to drop an item. You add your superiority die to the attack's damage roll, and the target must make a strength saving throw. On a failed save, it drops you. Oh, nope. I thought it modified the attack roll. This is pretty much identical to what we have. That's good. Distracting Strike. When you hit a target, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can expend one superiority die to distract the creature, giving your allies an opening. You add the superiority die to the attack's damage roll. The next attack roll against the target by an attacker other than you has advantage if the attack is made before the start of your next turn. So, let's go fish. Let's see. I think distracting. I think we have a distracting attack or something like that down here in the exploits. Let's go take a look. What does it actually do? Choose an ally. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can expend one superior die to distract the target, giving your allies an opening. Got it. Giving your allies an opening. Let's see. Overrun, Natural Hunter, Practice Charlatan, Proselytizer, Ranged Attack, Resilient, Sage, Subtle, Swift, Tactical Assessment, Veterinary when using the help action to grant advantage to the ability of an attacker and ally within 30 feet of it, roll and power die per mana channeled, adding the highest result to the allies. The cooperative effort is almost inspiration from Bard. Almost. You make an attack roll with advantage when power die channeled, adding the highest roll to your result. That's precise attack. Okay, maybe it's a maneuver. Coordinated attack. You can empower a target ally within 30 feet to use their reaction to make an attack. Rolling 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest result to the ally's attack against a target you and your ally can both see. Distract. Target creature you can see within 30 feet makes a charisma saving throw. Fail equals no reaction. Okay, well that's a little bit more intense. Rally. You and ally gains temporary hit points. Healing Radiance, Goad, Flatten, Distract. I want to say Coordinated Attack hits the mark. Let's see. Distracted. To use their reaction. Giving your allies an opening. You add the superior die to the attack's damage roll. The next attack roll against the target by an attacker other than you. Spend 1 superiority die to distract the opponent, giving your allies an opening. You add the superiority die to the attack's damage roll. The next attack roll against the target by an attacker other than you has advantage. The next attack roll against that target by an attacker other than you has advantage. You can expend 1 power die to use a bonus action. You turn to feint, choosing a target within 5 feet of you. The target have advantage in the next attack roll against the creature. If the attack hits, add superiority die to attack's damage roll. Goading attack. It has disadvantage on other stuff. Grappling is grappling. Lunging is extra reach. Maneuvering attack. You can expend superiority die to maneuver one of your comrades into a more advantageous position. Menacing attack. You can expend 1 superiority die to attempt to frighten a target. Parry. Use a reaction. Expend superiority die to reduce damage. Precision attack. Roll damage. Expend superiority die to add to the damage roll to the attack roll. Pushing attack. Shove something. Like we'll probably lose pushing attack to weapon maneuvers. Quick toss. Rally, bonus action, spin superiority die to bolster, gain hit points. Okay, maneuver, reaction, die, melee attack against creature if you hit. Add superiority die to attack's damage roll. Okay, sweeping attack. It's a trip. Tactical assessment, history and insight, investigation. Trip attack, and that's a trip. What's sweeping attack? Choose another creature within 5 feet of the original within reach. If the original attack roll would hit the second creature, it takes damage equal to the number rolled. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here that we could implement that's like near but not a direct match to stuff that we have. So let's see, distracting strike, and then we have coordinated attack. That's well. Let's look at reactions real quick, just to make sure we're not leaving something unturned. Deflection as a reaction when an ally within melee attack is hit by an attack roll. Reroll it. Downtrodden, evasive, feint. Fortitude, interpose. Any portion of the damage. Opt, punish. Counter attack as a reaction to an enemy within range. Moving target as a reaction to when a creature you see moves within reach and melee. You can make that even if they have disengage. Stolen fate. No. Okay, so the closest thing we have I think is coordinated attack. Let me go down here into strikes real quick just to make sure. Yeah, okay, so I think this is our best bid, but is it good enough? You can empower a target ally within 30 feet of you to use their reaction to make an attack. Versus this is, you can expend 1 superiority die to distract a creature, giving your allies an opening. You add the superiority die to the attack's damage roll. The next attack roll against the target by an attacker. I think we can build a strike out of this. So I'm going to leave that one be. I'm going to come back and rebuild this one. Embrace, when you see moves into reach, you're wielding, you can use your reaction to expend one superiority die and make one attack against a creature using that weapon. If the attack hits, add the superiority die to the damage roll. I feel like brace exists someplace somehow. Deflection. Lightning strike, punish. As a reaction to when a creature you can see moves while within reach of your melee attack, you make an opportunity attack, even if the target is using this engage action, rolling 1 power die per mana, adding the highest result to the attack roll. So that's moving target. Let's see, moves inside, into reach, not just within it. You can use your reaction to expend 1 superiority die and make 1 attack against the creature using that weapon. If the attack hits, expend 1 superiority die and make 1 attack against the creature. If the attack hits, add the superiority die to the weapon damage roll. Per mana, adding the highest result to the attack roll. You know, moving target is very close to brace. We'll explore it as a potential reaction, but like brace is a reaction, and then you can stack strikes with the reactions. This reaction is modifying the conditions or the attack rolls that you're making when you're dealing with a combat reaction like deflection and stuff like that. This would be. So you could use like you could use words, which where did it go? Sorry, moving target. Moving target is a show me. No, it's a reaction. Oh, it's a 2-mana reaction. That's right. There you go. So you could use this reaction. It costs you 2 mana to use it. And if you hit, you're getting the bonus to the attack roll per mana spent. So if you were to hit with it, you would then be able to use any strike that you want, because a strike triggers when you hit with an attack. And you can use them as part of your reactions. So it would cost you 2 mana to set up this target. And then you'd be able to spend at least 1 more point of mana. Since it's a 2, that's really important actually. The moving target, since it's a 2 mana power, second rank power, it costs 2 mana to use it. That means you're automatically going to be using 2 power dice when you roll this. And since you're a battle master, you're going to be rolling 2 8-sided dice and keep the best result to hit your target. Yep. And then you can use any of the strikes that you want. It's not exact. I'm going to leave it there for now. I technically think moving target is a better option, but I'm willing to debate that. So I'm not going to just close off the option. I'm going to leave that as an open question. Let's see. Distracting strike. What was bait and switch when you're within 5 feet? Oh yeah, this is this would be when you're within 5 feet of a creature on your turn, you can expend 1 superiority die and switch places with that creature, providing you spend at least 5 feet of movement and the creature is willing and isn't incapacitated. This movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. God, that's actually really good. That's worth keeping. And that should be an exploit. I like that. I actually like that a lot. So we're definitely going to keep that. Moving target might be better than brace. Distracting strike. Potentially a strike 1. Evasive footwork. When you move, you can expend one superiority die, rolling the die and adding the number rolled to the AC until you stop moving. That is evasive footwork. When you move, let's see. Oh crap! That's my time. All right, kids. We're gonna have to wrap it up for today. But this is going to be fun to continue exploring as we continue digging through these. I am looking forward to what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about how much I'm. So you can pick up any number of maneuvers that you want, and every time you gain a level, you can swap them out. So like if you want commanding presence at first level, you can. And at 5th level, you get it for free. So you can automatically swap out commanding presence and free up that slot to do something else with if you want. All of these are that way. So we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. There's 23 of these in total. And we normally only have 10. So the question then becomes, which ones do you get for free? And which ones do they have to pay for later? I mean, they get 16, so they'll get 26. So they can have all of them plus some extra eventually if they want them. Huh. I honestly don't know how to pace that out. So that's something we're going to have to think our way through, aren't we? Make sure that these things, the ones that we like, make sure they're available. We could always just make all of them available, probably. We'll see how close they are to other things and have that conversation. That's what we'll do next week. So, hey, like, subscribe, stick around. We'll be back again next week to do this some more. If you're liking the conversations and this stuff, then like and subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow morning working on Spelljammer ship combat art, and we'll be back. We do that Monday through Friday. Thursday and Monday nights we do cartography and creature token production for the Eberron adventure that we'll be publishing. Saturday we do book art commissions as well as personal projects. I'm working on a book cover for an abyssal weapon adventure. Yeah, there you go. So thanks a lot, guys. Hopefully I'll see some of you guys on the other side. Cheers.